I think the bells are means for communication. They are made to help us communicate. It's like incense. You think that you can communicate with telephone or letters, but you can very well communicate with incense. When you want to get in touch with the Buddha, your ancestors, a person that you love, you can use incense. When you burn incense, you have an opportunity to get in touch with him, with her. And the incense help your mind to get in touch. And in our tradition, incense has three kinds of energy. The first energy is mindfulness. It means the mindfulness trainings, because that incense make you fragrant and the world fragrant. If you live according to the mindfulness trainings, you emit a kind of fragrance, the fragrance of freedom and happiness. The second kind of incense is concentration. And when you practice concentration, you are truly there in the here and the now. And you can get in touch. You can go deeply, make a breakthrough to what is there in order to really understand, not the appearance, but the inside. That's the incense of concentration. And then the third kind of incense is insight. When mindfulness and concentration are powerful, and then you get the insight. You see things as they are. You do not have a wrong perception about that person or that thing. And when you have the right insight, you are liberated from your fear, your anger, because fear, anger are born from wrong perceptions. So that is why in temples we use incense. And the best kind of incense is not made with sandalwood or things like that, but it is made by mindfulness, concentration, and insight. And when you offer incense to Buddha, that is the best kind of incense that you can use, because it is a means for perfect communication. So the bells are the same. Bells are made of these three kinds of power. It is not made of copper or other kind of materials. It is made of our mind. And first of all, we have to communicate with ourselves. Because you think that you know who you are. But usually we don't know who we are, what we are. And that is why we have to go home to ourselves in order to look deeply, to listen deeply, in order to see what we are, who we are. So when you invite the bell to sound, the first thing you do when you hear the bell is to go back to your in-breath. You breathe in mindfully. And while breathing in mindfully, you go back to your body, to your feelings, to your perceptions, and you get in touch with yourself, your five skandhas: form, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. And that kind of listening can help you to calm down, to be concentrated, and you have a chance to know who you are. You can touch your roots, because if you don't recognize your roots, you cannot know who you are. So first is to communicate with yourself, and when you communicate with yourself well, you connect with your ancestors, spiritual ancestors and blood ancestors. And that is why this is a meditation. This is a practice of looking deeply and listening deeply. And then the bell is also to communicate to other people. In the evening, we invite the big bell to sound. And we want to communicate with those who are in hell, in the darkest place in the world, because hell are everywhere. Many people are caught in a situation where they are full of despair. They don't know how to get out. And we want the sound that we are sending can reach them. And maybe because of the fact that they have a seed of mindfulness, concentration, and insight in them, the sound of bell may be able to wake these seeds up. And with these energies, they can get out of that situation, even if they don't do it physically, but they can do it mentally, because it is the mind that imprisons us, and they can get the freedom right where they are. So in the evening, we invite the big bell to sound, usually 108 times. And during the time we do so, we concentrate on the people in hell. Hells are right here, around us, and not something very far away. It's not down there. And while we invite the bell, understanding and compassion are born in us, because we want to get in touch. We want to communicate. Not only we can communicate with people in hell, but we can communicate with people in heaven. Because in heaven is also here. Because if they don't know that they are lucky, if they don't know how to preserve their happiness, and then the happiness will die. And they will be born in hell, right here and right now. Thường thông thiên đường, hạ triệt địa phủ. You can get in touch with heaven, and you can get in touch with hell just by sending a sound, the sound of the bell. So in the morning, we use a big bell in order to wake people up. And not only the people who live in the temple, but also the people who live in the village down there. Because in our culture, people in the old time, they did not have a clock. And the people in the village wake up at the sound of the morning bell. They prepare to cook for their husband, for their sons, so that they have breakfast and go early to the field and work. And that bell is used for everyone in the village, not just for the monks. And then it is the voice of the Buddha, because it comes from the temple. And in every one of us, there is a Buddha. And when a thief is trying to steal something, if he hears the bell, he understands that, don't do that, my child. You are causing suffering to another person, and you are causing suffering to you. So the bell is a sound of awakening. But that sound does not really come from the bell. It comes from your consciousness, your conscience. So the bell is trying to help us not to violate the precepts, not to do wrong things in order to create suffering for yourself and for other people. So in our life, the sound of the bell is very crucial, very important. They are symbol of awakening, understanding, compassion, and they can touch the best thing in us, Buddha nature, the capacity to understand, to love, to share, etc. So when you are a bell master, you should be trained in order to be a bell master, because the quality of the sound that you emit is very important. It is a spiritual sound. It is the voice of the Buddha that you are sending to the people. Standing before the bell, or sitting next to the bell, you practice mindful breathing in and out. And there is a poem, a verse that you can recite silently while you prepare yourself. You need to prepare yourself in order for you to be qualified as a bell master. You should have enough calm, solidity, and peace in order for the sound of the bell that you emit to have a power on the world. And the verse is like this: body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of this bell. May those who listen to me awaken from the world of forgetfulness and transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow. And breathing in, you read one line silently. Breathing out, you breathe one line silently. And when you have finished the 4 lines, you have enough calm and peace and stability, and you are qualified as a bell master. And now you produce a half sound in order to warn people that they should prepare themselves. They should stop the thinking, stop the talking, in order to be ready to receive the bell, to receive the sound of the bell. We call it half sound. We will make a demonstration later on. But the half sound is to wake the bell up and to wake the people around up, so that they prepare themselves for the reception of the sound. And after you have produced the half sound, the wake up sound, you allow people to have the time to prepare themselves. They breathe in mindfully, they breathe out mindfully. They know that the voice of the Buddha from within is going to be heard. So everyone produces mindfulness and concentration. And then you allow people enough time to prepare themselves, and after that you invite the bell to sound. We don't say hit the bell, but invite the bell to sound, because the bell is a great being. The bell is a Buddha, because it helps people wake up. And when the complete sound is heard, and then everyone, including the bell master, begin to practice breathing in, breathing out deeply 3 times. While breathing in, they say, I listen, I listen. Breathing out, they say, this wonderful sound brings me back to my true home. My true home is in the here and the now. And while breathing like that, the practice of mindful breathing calms people down and help them to go back to the here and the now, which is the true home, where life is available. Listen, I listen, I listen. This wonderful sound brings me back to my true home 3 times. And as a bell master, you have to allow people enough time to enjoy breathing in and breathing out 3 times. And if you are a little bit young, your in-breath and out-breath are not as long as the in-breath and out-breath of other people, and you allow, after you have finished your 3 breathings, you allow them some extra times to enjoy deeply their 3 in-breath and out-breath. And then you invite the bell for the 2nd time, and like that 3 times. And with 3 sounds of the bell, you have a chance to enjoy 9 times of breathing in and breathing out. And you get a lot of peace, stability, relaxation. And while teaching the children, we always tell them that if you have a little bell in your home, and then in the morning you practice listening to the bell 3 times before you go off to school or you go off to work. And during the time you breathe in and out 9 times, you get enough peace, calm, solidity to use during the day. And if you do well, you can do that again before you go to sleep. And then in many families who have practiced listening to the bell, they have a room called a breathing room, and where there is a bell, and they invite the bell in the morning, in the evening, so the harmony and the calm and peace in the house can increase day by day. And then the children advise that when the atmosphere in the house is not peaceful enough, Daddy is angry at Mommy, and then the atmosphere is difficult to breathe, and you as a child, you are not helpless. You can do something to help improve the situation. You go slowly to the breathing room. Breathing room is like a meditation hall, a tiny meditation hall in each house. You slowly open the door, you enter, you close the door behind you, you sit down quietly, you breathe, and you invite the bell. And then your father will hear the sound of the bell. And the sound of the bell will wake him up. Or if your mother is cutting carrots in the kitchen, she hears the bell, she is angry, but when she hears the bell, she stops cutting the carrot, she breathes in and out, and she knows how to handle her anger. And as a child, you can help. You help yourself. You help even your parents. You don't need to be a victim. So the bell can play a very important role in our daily life, not just in the church, in the temple. Lấy cho thầy cái suppose the city council decide to invite everyone living in the city, every time they hear the bell of the church, everyone stop and breathe in and out and smile. I think in 5 days, the atmosphere of the city will change, because breathing in and out like that can help people stop and calm themselves. So this kind of practice is not too difficult, and it's pleasant also. So this is the smallest kind of bell. We call it a mini bell. And this is the inviter, not the stick. And you breathe in and you recite the verse. Body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of this bell. May the hearers awaken from their forgetfulness and transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow. And then you offer the half sound. And you allow people enough time to prepare themselves for the reception of the bell. And you bow to the bell.